Have you ever felt like you're not really yourself? You look around, everyone seems to have their own style, their own voice, their own personal brand. But you're just trying to be someone else, someone successful, someone admired, so much so that you've lost your own identity in the process. You dress like them, but no one pays attention. You speak like them, but no one listens. You imitate their style, but nobody seems to care. And then you wonder, what am I doing wrong? Why do they succeed, while I become a laughingstock? Perhaps you're missing one simple truth. Imitating the outside without understanding the essence isn't learning, it's self-destruction. Let ocean wisdom share with you a simple folktale. Simple, but as deep as the sea. The more you reflect, the more you may see yourself in it. You might laugh at the innocence of the character, but somewhere in that laughter lies a bitter truth we're all living unconsciously. So, take a sip of tea and listen to a story called The Woman Who Imitated a Frown. Once upon a time in ancient Vietnam, there lived a young woman named Xi Shi. Her beauty was often compared to a full moon, pure, gentle, and effortlessly graceful. But there was something unusual about her. Xi Shi often suffered from stomach aches, and whenever the pain came, she would clutch her belly and frown in discomfort. Strangely enough, it was in those very moments, when her face was twisted in pain, that she appeared even more beautiful. People looked at her and were mesmerized. Her frown, oddly, became a celestial brushstroke that enhanced her charm. Now, in the same village, another woman happened to witness this, and she thought to herself, "Ah, so that's the secret. Frowning makes you beautiful. Well then, I shall frown too." Back at home, she clutched her stomach and deliberately scowled, mimicking what she had seen. But instead of looking more beautiful, she ended up terrifying the entire village. Some slammed their doors shut, others grabbed their children and fled. She became the walking nightmare of the town. Lesson 1. Projection, the psychology of wanting someone else's beauty without understanding its root. When the village woman saw Xi Shi frown and still appear beautiful, she fell into a common psychological trap. She mistook the outward appearance as the cause of the inner result. She didn't see that Xi Shi's beauty came from within. She only saw the surface, the facial expression, and rushed to imitate it. This is a classic psychological phenomenon called projection. So, what is projection? In psychology, projection occurs when we see something admirable in someone, like confidence, charm, or charisma, and wish it were ours. But instead of looking inward to understand where it comes from, we mimic the outward expression, hoping to achieve the same result. In other words, we wear a beautiful mask, without changing anything inside. Xi Shi, inner beauty, not effortful charm. Xi Shi didn't try to be beautiful, she simply lived true to her natural state. She was in pain, so she frowned. She didn't hide her pain, but neither did she complain. She accepted herself fully, and that very sense of effortless authenticity created a gentle, captivating energy. This is what we call unprovable beauty, a kind of radiance that emerges only when the inner self is free from comparison, free from envy, and free from the pressure to become someone else. The other woman, inauthentic and thus unconvincing. In contrast, the woman who imitated Xi Shi's frown had nothing within to support her actions. No charisma, no naturalness, no genuine emotion. The result? The villagers weren't drawn to her. In fact, they felt something strange and uncomfortable. Her actions lacked soul, lacking harmony between the outside and the inside. This is the reverse psychological effect. When others sense a lack of authenticity, they instinctively distance themselves. People aren't drawn to your appearance, but to the energy that radiates from within you. This quote can be understood more deeply like this. You can dress like a celebrity. You can speak as fluently as a professional speaker. You can mimic someone's gestures, tone, and posture. But if you're hollow inside, all of that is just a pretty coat of paint over a rotting house. On the other hand, when your inner world is real, deep, and full, even the simplest words you speak can truly touch others. Let's look at this through the lens of business and inspiration. You live stream, you share, you tell your story. But if You've never truly experienced what you're talking about. You haven't been honest with yourself. You don't fully believe in what you're offering. Then your words will only be an echo, lacking weight, lacking emotional connection. Your audience, your customers, they may not say it out loud, but they can feel it immediately. Who is living their truth and who is just playing a role? Remember this. You cannot transmit energy you don't have. You cannot sell an experience you've never truly lived. And you cannot captivate the world if you're still rejecting who you really are. Lesson 2. Your path is your own path. Imitating others is the quickest way to stray from your true path. At this point, we're no longer talking about right or wrong, good or bad. We're talking about something deeper, the essence, the root, and more profoundly, the principle of living in alignment with your true nature. That woman was not Sure, and the difference wasn't just about appearance. It was a complete difference in essence, a different aura, a different kind of energy, a different state of consciousness, a different social environment, different life experiences. Everything was different. Her mistake wasn't just copying an action, it was blindly copying without understanding the fundamental difference. She did something that didn't belong to her, didn't match her energy, didn't fit her essence, wasn't right for that moment in her life, or the role she was meant to play. That is what it means to stray from your own path, your own Tao. Understanding the word Tao in the Tao Te Ching, it is not a religion, but the natural principle that governs all things. Lao Tzu wrote, "Knowing others is intelligence, knowing yourself is true wisdom. Conquering others shows strength, conquering yourself is true power." This quote isn't just beautiful, it is the essence of personal growth. Knowing others is analytical intelligence. Knowing yourself is awakened wisdom. Defeating others is external power. Mastering yourself is inner transformation. And such transformation can only happen when we truly know ourselves, return to our authentic nature, and honor the way of life that suits who we truly are. In real life, many people are like the woman in the story. They see someone succeed and think they must do the exact same thing. They see others dancing happily on TikTok, so they force themselves to learn the moves. They see someone sharing inspirational content, so they try telling stories too, even when, deep inside, nothing truly resonates. And what is the result? Not just failure, but a fracture in the soul. They lose not only their sense of direction and action, but also their connection with their own spirit. There's one crucial question anyone who wants to grow must ask: who am I? What was I born to do? What form of expression best suits my energy? If you're someone with analytical thinking, depth, and a talent for writing, then write. Don't force yourself to become a performer, to speak fast, or to act like a clown. If your gift is to inspire through your voice, start a podcast, record audio, read aloud. You don't need a camera-ready face or flashy dance moves to transmit energy. What truly matters is this. Are you doing something that aligns with the deepest truth of who you are? And you must remember, no one can be you except you. Every person has their own Tao, their unique path. Following someone else's path might make you faster, more noticeable for a moment. But in the long run, it will wear down your true essence. A philosopher once said, "If you don't become yourself, the world will miss out on the best version of you." In other words, being yourself is not just a right, it's a responsibility. Because only when you walk your own path can you live fully, feel at peace, be at ease, no more pretending, no more striving to be someone else. Lesson 3, a psychological perspective, the pain of rejection. Imitating at the wrong time only leads to deeper hurt. The girl's imitation may seem funny, but in truth, this is a familiar psychological story for many of us. When you imitate someone, not out of genuine learning, but because you want to be loved like them, to be accepted like them, you've stepped into a deeply vulnerable space. You think you're simply trying out a new style. But deep down, you're hoping, if I act like that person, I'll be noticed too. I'll be loved like they are. And then, if the world doesn't respond the way you hoped, you don't just feel disappointed. You feel like something is wrong with you. In psychology, this is known as the pain of self-image rejection. It means you've formed a beautiful image of yourself, a version you believe is worthy of love. But when the world doesn't accept that image, you don't just feel like your actions were wrong. You feel like you are wrong, And that feeling, it hurts. Not the kind of pain like stubbing your toe, but the kind of ache that makes you doubt yourself, close yourself off and wonder, what's wrong with me? Many people respond by shrinking into themselves, afraid to show who they really are. Others go the opposite direction. They keep trying to copy others, keep playing a role, and the more they do, the more disconnected they feel from their true self. But here's the truth. You can admire someone without becoming a copy of them to feel loved. You don't have to act. You don't have to force yourself to be interesting, cute, or inspiring, if that's not genuinely you. Because lasting charisma doesn't come from a polished mask. It comes from a real person. This world already has more than enough copies. What it truly needs is an authentic you. A you that's natural, imperfect, but sincere. A you that doesn't need to fake a frown to look beautiful. Just living honestly is enough to shine. So if you've ever tried to imitate someone and felt like you failed, don't be discouraged. You didn't do anything wrong. You're simply on the journey of returning to your true self. And each time you live a little more honestly, you are healing that wound. Take your time. The world is still waiting for the real you to arrive. But now you might be wondering, if I don't imitate, how can I learn? Maybe you're thinking, I'm just trying to learn from those who are better than me. If I don't follow them, how can I grow? And that's a fair question. Truth is, everyone starts by learning from others. We observe, we mimic, we try things out. That's a natural part of growth. But here's the key. There's a big difference between copying and learning. Copying means taking what someone does and pasting it directly onto yourself like a template, without truly understanding it. And when circumstances shift, you're stuck. You don't know how to adapt because you never built your own foundation. You become dependent on the external, disconnected from the internal. True learning, on the other hand, is a much deeper journey. It's a process with 4 essential steps. Observe others with depth and openness. Begin with curiosity. Watch what others are doing, not just what they say, what they wear, or where they film. Look deeper. Observe the energy they radiate, the way they tell stories, the connection they create with their audience. Remember, the goal isn't to copy the surface. It's to understand the principles underneath their success. What's their rhythm, their truth, their intention? Understand the why behind their actions. This is the step most people skip. They see someone live streaming at 7 p.m. and just copy that. They see someone sharing emotional stories and try to do the same. But they never ask, why did that person choose this approach? Why does it work for them? Maybe that person has a loyal community. Maybe their story aligns with that tone. Maybe they've built trust over time. You don't know their context. And trying to mimic without understanding can set you up for failure. To truly grow, you must decode the intention behind the method, then decide if it fits your path. Check in. Does it truly fit you? This is the moment of transformation. You must pause and ask yourself, does this approach resonate with my essence? Do I feel at ease doing it? Does it help me express who I truly am? If you're doing something just because others are doing it, but deep down, you feel disconnected or uncomfortable, then, no matter how hard you try, people will sense that misalignment. Authenticity isn't something you perform, it's something you embody. True learning doesn't turn you into someone else, it brings you closer to yourself. Recreate in your own style. This is the true art of learning. When you digest someone else's experience, absorb it into your being, and then express it in a way that's uniquely yours. Maybe you're both telling the same inspiring story, but you share it in a calm, deep voice, while someone else brings it to life with energy and flair. Maybe you explain a life lesson using everyday examples, while another uses philosophical metaphors. Each expression has its own beauty when it flows from your true self. And that's the essence of real learning. It's not about copying who's good. It's about understanding how they found their path, so you can discover your own. Copying is fast, but it won't last. Learning with awareness, choosing wisely, and evolving in your own way. That's the path to true growth. And the most beautiful part, when you learn this way, you not only progress, you also stay true to yourself. You become someone powerful, clear, and grounded. Not a copy, but a living, breathing, authentic version of you. Here's a fun self-discovery exercise just for you. Knowing your true self. Grab a notebook and take a moment to reflect. Who are 3 people you truly admire? What exactly are you learning or drawn to in them? Do those qualities genuinely resonate with your essence, or are they just surface-level attractions? What are 3 core values that belong uniquely to you? Values that guide your heart, not just your actions. Write them down, and let that be the first step on your journey back to your authentic self. If this story about frowning to be beautiful touches something within you, don't hesitate. Like this video to let me know you're here. Subscribe to the channel and stay on this journey back to your essence. And drop a comment. I commit to living as my true self. No copies, no masks. Remember, you were born an original, and the world needs you as you truly are. So stop trying to be someone else, because the original version of you is already a masterpiece.